you go. Right, hello everybody. Whether or not we've got anybody watching just yet, so we'll give it a couple of minutes to see if we get some people online and watching. You can drop me a message and we should hopefully be able to see when you've joined in. Natalie will be on the messages soon to see when people are watching. She's sorting herself out in the corner. Climbing over an obstacle course that is our craft room.
Will you turn the sound down, yeah?
No, probably not, so you probably want to turn it back down.
Okay, I'll turn it down.
Hello. So today we're doing a run through Brother Canvas Workspace Online. So for this you need to go to canvasworkspace.brother.com and log in with your details. It's the same as if you have the offline version. It's the same login that you can use for that.
Hayley and Sarah Lou are currently watching me.
Hayley and Sarah Lou.
And 4 other people that I don't know who.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. So if you're not watching, just say hello so we can see who's on with us. And if you have any questions, do pop them in the chat, as Naturally is monitoring that for me. So when you sign into your Canvas Workspace Online, this is the screen that comes up. And it's probably asked you about downloading the offline version because it's got lots of updates. For now, you can just close that. It'll pop up every time you log in unless you tick the little box at the bottom that says do not show. So you have the same on here as we do on the offline version, as you can access all your projects. So all the ones that Brother put up as new. And you can also get into any projects that you've saved. I particularly like this feature because it actually allows you to get to a lot of your saved projects that you save online that you can't necessarily access if you've got the offline version. So all these that we've done over the years, hundreds of designs that we've done that we still have access to just because we've managed to save them in the right places. Lots of boxes there and other bits that we've done. Right, though, back to our first butterfly that they give you when you first start. So when you do first start, if you haven't got any on there whatsoever, they will give you this one here, which is a sample, which is on everybody's offline canvas. It's a good one to start with if you want to just cut something out.
Online rather than offline, though.
I said online. Yeah. So we can still access our pattern collections. So if there's any that you own, they'll be unlocked like this one. And the other bits. And if you don't, these are the ones you have to pay for. And again, you've got the Disney ones at the end there. If you want to go ahead and buy those, you can. If you do buy the Disney ones, please remember that you do have the copyright on them, that you can only use them for personal use. You cannot sell anything you make with a Disney pack. Unless you want the wrath of Disney on you, which isn't pleasant. We have known them to shut people down completely. They will confiscate all your craft stuff, take it away, and it's not good. So anyway, yeah, we're getting into the new project. So we're going to this big one at the front, and this opens up your workspace. Everybody okay so far? Any questions?
No.
No. From here, excuse me, from within here, we have the My Projects. So here you can access the first few projects of your collection that you have already saved. And if you want more, you click Get More at the bottom, and then you can go and keep going and keep going. So you will eventually get back to all your designs that you have in there if you want them, and you can just bring them back. You have Return to Categories at the top, click back, and it goes. We then have our basic shapes. So again, we're back to our squares, circles, trapeziums, triangles, arches, hearts, stars, arrows, all the useful bits that we all know and love from either on the machine or the offline version. You have your borders, so again you have your selection of borders that you can put in. And your logos is your text, which is the fixed text. Again, any of these you want to install, put onto your screen, you can just click and they appear on your mat. So. And then we have text at the bottom. So you have a limited amount of text that you can, or fonts that you can use. These 20 fonts that they have here. I should have counted those earlier, sorry. Are the ones that we can use. And you just click on text and you can double click on it to edit it. It's okay. And then you can put in whatever text you want. And then just click off it to be able to move it around and resize. Oh, there's a bit of a lag on that today. Okay. So, going across the top, here we have a create new project. So if you're not happy with it, or if you want to start a fresh project, you can click that, and then it'll say, do you want to save anything you put on the map, and it will just replace what you got. You can overwrite this project. So if you saved it, you can give it a project title at the top here. So I can call that logo, and press in, click off it, and it will save that. And then if I make any changes, I can click that, and say this project is complete, and it'll be saved as a logo. So when I next go back to my projects at the side, Plannercraft will be saved as the top one that I last had. You still have your image tracing available, and if you have the enhanced tracing kit, which we highly recommend, which is available from Hachanda, I believe, or was, I don't know if it still is.
Yeah, it wasn't off on the Chanda, but you can get it from Maker's Superstore.
Yeah, you can get it from Maker's Superstore, and I believe Create & Craft probably have it as well,
Yeah.
no doubt.
Just not for the same price as the
Yes,
Chanda.
but do have a check for the prices because they vary between the shops.
Sorry, have I interrupted yours?
No, it's okay. Somebody else did. How are we doing on questions? Any questions? Am I going slow enough, quick enough, too fast?
No, we now have Kate watching, but no, I don't have any other questions.
No other questions.
Not yet.
Wonderful. So that works with your any JPEGs or images, and you can also do a scan from your machine. So if you do a scan image through your scan and cut, you can then pull it back through. If you save it to the cloud, you can pull it back through into there. You can do your SVG, so you can import your SVG files, same as you can on the desktop version. You have your selection tool, path tools, your freehand path, those for your nodes, undo, redo, delete, which is always handy, and this one is your properties. So if I click on my Plannercraft text there and click my properties, here you'll see all the bits for if I want to change the size and scale, rotate it by any size, what font it's in, character spacing, so if I want to bring them all closer together so they weld nicely, I can drop that down and a little bit more because the P is not attached. There we go. So we can bring it down to there, and then that'll all be nicely attached when I weld it together in a moment. Your colour and fill, so if you wanted it filled in, we can put it onto this one here, and we can pick a colour. The one with the little squares is no fill, so it leaves it blank, or we can fill it if we want to, which I'll try to leave it blank for now so you can see the lines. Now, the big advantage to the online version to the offline, it's probably the only advantage because the rest of it does seem a little backwards in step, is this function here. And it's the ability to set your line as a cut or draw line. We get lots of questions of people asking when using the offline version, when you send it to your machine and you click on draw and there's nothing there, and you go back to cut and it's there. And the reason being, they've usually not set it as the right type of line they want to do with it. So they decide they want to draw it, but they haven't set it right in the offline version. With this version, at least, you can set it to cut or drawing line, so it won't differentiate between the two. So if you go to cut, it will cut. If you go to draw, it will draw. And you can still set your dash line patterns here as well for when you're doing your other bits. I'm going to leave that. I'll just move those letters in. I'm going to weld it together and show you how to do that. So that's your properties. So at the top here is your project. Here you have edit, which is here you find all your usual bits. Now you can't do like the shaping text on a curve automatically like you can in the offline version, but you can do your weld. There we go, that's welded that much better than it did earlier. I just noticed I can't spell today. Oh well. I have planned a craft instead of craft, but never mind, we shan't go there.
That makes it sound like you spell most of it.
Yeah, it's usually what I spell it as. And you can still do things like your offset. So you, as we can on the other one, set the inside to drawing line. We can leave it as this, or we can delete it. Inward or outward, you can set the size of your spacing, and you can have either round or bevel edges, which will give it a nice matte at the background, which allows it to have that. Now note when it brings it in, it doesn't necessarily weld them, put them as a group, so I always recommend grouping it together, so when you move it around, back into edit, and then group. So now that's one piece. When you're happy with your design, you want to send it to your machine, it's the big button at the top, one that says download. And you click that, and it asks you how you want to do it. So download to PC, saves it to your machine, so you can put it onto a memory, saves it to your computer, sorry, so it puts it on, so you can put it onto a memory stick, or direct link it from your, with a USB cable from the scan and cut back to your computer. And you have the transfer via the Wi-Fi, which is this one here, which means it sends it direct to your machine if you have a machine that is Wi-Fi enabled. And when it's done, so if we send it on that one, and there you go, so it's ready. So that's now sat on our machine, ready for me to cut off. Which is all very well, but I spelled it wrong, so I shan't be doing that today.
Okay, do you want to show how to draw using the freehand tool? Not the freehand tool, the path tool.
No, because I'm no good at that.
No, come on. Fine.
While I'm here, there's a project button at the top. I'll do it quickly. It just allows you to show new project, so you can create new, overwrite. You can save it as another project, so you can change. This one here will count the shapes that you have on your map. So if you've got lots of shapes on your map, you want to know how many, it will count how many shapes are on your map for you. You've got your image tracing and SVG straighteners, little buttons, and you can change the size of your mat here, so you can have your 12 by 12 or your 12 by 24. And then view is your zoom options of how it goes, so you get fit to mat, fit to selection, fit to all content, and then your various sizes. You can get it to show either just a cutting line or just a drawing line. So if you have lots of stuff on there and you've got bits that are cut, bit to draw, and you want to show just the one bit, you can click on those, and then you can change what space or sizes it's in inches or millimeters to units, and you can just click between those depending on which way you want it round. So it doesn't change in that image, which is normal. It just doesn't update the map. So when you change the view,
It's not working for you.
you click it onto millimeters. It doesn't actually, on the offline version, this would change to millimeters across the top here and down the side.
Yeah.
And on this one, it does not. So I'll leave it on inches because that's what it sticks to. So, drawing with the pen tool as such, is virtually the same as it is offline. So you click for your 1 point, and you can use Shift to make it a fixed straight line if you want to, and it will stay. And if you wanted to draw a box or a rectangle, again we can use Shift to make sure it's straight. And we make a closed shape that way. Or we can do the same again, so selecting Path Tool again at the top there. Click once. Again, Shift to make it straight for a second. Click once and then click again, and then we can give our lines as before. And then if we go into our properties, if we want that as a dash line, we can change it to a dash line, and you can have it as cut or draw, or you can set that to draw if you want to. So then we go back into that, it gives you your properties that stay up. And then of course you have your freehand tool as well. So the freehand one is exactly the same, that you can do a backward C, as it looks like I've just drawn for some reason. Don't know. Or again, if you just did it as single hand, it would do that as it assumes that's a shape. So then you can play with that.
You can edit your nodes as well, so you're not tied to having to do it right first time.
Yes, so to get to your nodes, you can click on something twice, and there you can see we've got lots and lots of nodes in that one.
Yeah, it's a click twice, not a double click.
And when we zoom in, you can see that it bunches up bits on the corners. Nodes are important when you're looking at your where's that gone? There we go. If you ever lose it, you can use Fit to Map and View, and it just brings it back to centre for you. I don't know where it sent that all of a sudden, but it disappeared on me. So again, we can make it bigger, and then if we want to adjust here, as I was saying about the nodes, when the nodes are important because each one of these nodes is a mark or a turn that your scan and cut makes with its blade or with a pen. So the less nodes you have, the more smooth you will have for your blade or your edges.
And less noisy.
Yes, and less noise obviously because it's making less turns and joins. So we can smooth out things like here. We can click on this bit, we can just go to delete. We can take them out, and we can just smooth these out a little bit. So when they join up, that actually brings that straight now, and you can see where we had lots of nodes, we suddenly don't have quite so many. And again, we could probably take that one out, and it just brings it round. And we can still bend it if we want to by pulling the handles, so we can twist it either way without too much play. So we can still make it curve like it's the bottom of the S. And then here we could just reconnect that. If you put up the zoom and select the bit you want to zoom into, it actually pulls it into 1000, which is its highest. And then we can see that that one's deleted. No, we have to wait. Just leave it for now.
Okay.
Just have a look out the window. We can take that one out.
You're going to have to answer it in.
Right, do you want to carry on with that for a second? Really play the notes.
Okay.
Hello?
So when you've got too many nodes in confined space, as I was saying, you will find that it judders. So what you want to do is just take out any excess nodes, and to do that just make it blue and select the remove node tool. Okay. Now each node, when it's a curved node, has two handles, and the further the node goes, the more extreme the curve. So again, you won't want that node that close to that next one. So we'll take that one out. And again. Okay. So sometimes you'll notice that the node has a kink in it. So in other words, your two handles don't flow straight through. So in other software, that'd be known as a cusp node. And it's where you have a point in a curve. And it's something that Canvas tries to eliminate wherever possible. The reason being, if you look closely at your cut files that you send from Canvas, your corners are ever so slightly rounded. And that's done so that your blade can move around your design easier. And if you start trying to do that on a cusp node, those of you that have worked in, say, Illustrator will know that it starts to get a bit complicated with where handles are going and okay.
Hello.
Right. I'm going to just come off the feed for now, and I will be back.